like to call to order the meeting of the New York State Water Finance Authority Finance Committee and ask for a roll call.
Melanie Hartzell.
Alan Anders for Melanie Hartzell.
Basil Segos.
Robert Elburn for Commissioner Segos.
Max Von Holly.
Here.
Jacques Sheeha.
Jacqueline Gold for Jacques Sheeha.
Mark Shaw.
Here.
Vincent Sapienza.
No, you're for
We have a quorum.
Okay, first item of business is we need a resolution, we need a motion and a second for the approval of the minutes of the meeting of November 15th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
And a second. Minutes have been circulated. Anyone catch anything they'd like to change? Not hearing that. Any opposition to approving the proposed resolution? Hearing none, the resolution is adopted. We will need a motion and a second for a recommendation to the Board of Directors for the approval of Supplemental Resolution 133, which authorized the issuance of fiscal 2018 Series DD Water and Sewer System Bond, second general resolution. So a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Olga, will you tell us the background?
Well, so this resolution authorizing issuance of up to $550 million of bonds under a second resolution. And we actually expect to issue approximately $475 million split into two subseries, $275 million of new money, so funding water and sewer projects for the system, and about $200 million of current refunding bonds. The savings there are pretty healthy. We are looking at approximately 19% present value savings, which is pretty good. Not to exceed the total interest cost, TIC is 5%. The expected TIC is about 3.9%. The materials that went out had we updated the schedule of the transactions since the materials went out. So we now expect to price the bonds this Thursday, March 8th, and close transaction on Tuesday, March 20th. And the bonds will be bid competitively. I think we've done these transactions periodically, and you've approved them. So instead of hiring an underwriting syndicate and negotiating a price on the bonds with the syndicate, we put in the bonds out for a competitive bid, and a firm or a syndicate of firms that provides the best price for us wins, and we award the bond. Are there any questions on this transaction?
Okay. Any opposition to approving the proposed resolution? Not hearing any, it's approved. Have a series of bond issues to approve here at today. So the third item of business, we'll need a motion and a second for a recommendation to the Board of Directors again for approval of Supplemental Resolution 134 authorizing the issuance of the fiscal 2018 Series B bond anticipation notes issued to the New York State EFC. Olga, will you tell us what's going on here?
Just to be clear, these are notes, not bonds. These are shorter interim instruments. The final maturity on these notes will be in 5 years from the closing date of March 22nd, so they'll mature in 2023. And that's an outside date. We actually expect to get the proceeds from the bonds starting late spring into the summer, and then put together a long-term bond transaction to pay off the notes by issuing long-term bonds to AFC. So the proceeds of the notes will provide new money for the system, so financing of water and sewer projects. The financing cost is very attractive. While not to exceed number is 4%, The actual number will be under 1%. It's expected to be 66 basis points, and that's for the duration. It's locked for the duration of the notes. Are there any, and the amount, not to exceed the amount, 550 million, I think the actual amount will be around 520.
No additional questions. Any opposition to approving this resolution? Not hearing any, is passed. Our last item is, we need a motion and a second for a recommendation also to the Board of Directors for the approval of amended and restated supplemental resolution number 83.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, great. Olga?
So this is a little technical. This 83rd resolution, it goes back to 2012, and it authorized variable rate demand bonds, series 2012B. So these bonds exist in variable rate mode, but what happens with variable rate mode bonds is that we have third-party liquidity facilities that support the bonds, because the bonds have tender feature. So the bondholders can put the bonds back to us, to the issuer, and to cover that put feature, we procure third-party bank support on the bonds. And from time to time, these support facilities expire, and we have to replace them. So this is what happened with these bonds, and we've been recently working on extending some of the existing facilities, and others we had to replace. And as part of that process, we go to the rating agencies, and they issue rating based on the new facilities that we procure. And so as we were working with the rating agencies, we realized that this supplemental resolution is outdated at this point. The newer generations of supplemental resolutions for variable rate bonds clarify that bondholder tender rights survive defeasance of the bonds. And that, there is sort of no language in this supplementary resolution that actually addresses this issue. So the amendment we are looking for you to approve here is just add that clarifying feature, clarifying language about this feature. This is something that we need in order for the rating agencies to release their ratings on the new facilities.
Modernizing, updating the documents.
Yes, so that's right. So pretty much, this language exists in all of our current supplemental, new generation supplemental resolutions for variable rate bonds.
So, any questions?
Is this liquidity bank that's coming in now, are they one of the liquidity banks that support some of the other issues too?
Well, we actually have, currently we have 4, and 2 of them are exiting. And one of the current providers, State Street, they will be extending their existing facility and also stepping in to cover the 2 that are exiting. That's Northern Trust and Culpers.
So they've already seen and been through this language and approved it, so that's all
Yes,
done?
So all parties involved are on board with this amendment. Rating agencies have seen it and signed off on it, and the banks and legal folks, various councils, everyone's on board with that.
Okay.
Meanwhile, very low cost dailies or weeklies?
Jason, do you remember these daily weeklies? I don't remember, but obviously variable rate bonds have been a significant component of our portfolio, and continues to provide very attractive rates.
Sure.
Current resets in
Yeah,
a
1%.
1% range.
Yep.
Yep.
So on that note, any opposition to approving this resolution? Not hearing any, it's passed. Any further business? Not hearing any, motion to adjourn in a second?
So moved.
Second?
Okay. Any opposition? Not hearing any, we are adjourned.